This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Strong opening. I love it. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, December 9th. I'm Tori here with Alan Jeff. We were just talking sports.
Yes.
I put some money on Kansas.
Did you?
I don't know what that is.
Good, they won.
Oh, good. Okay, excellent. I'm glad to hear it. I have no idea. We have the wonderful Lindsey Granger joining us from home. I will always bet on Lindsey. How are you doing today?
Tori, stop talking sports. You and I have to bow out of that conversation gracefully, okay?
Okay, you're right. I shouldn't just be like, Kansas, intercept. Yay. I agree with you.
But yeah.
Oh, was it? Good call.
Lindsay's hair has just been looking awesome
She's
for the last couple of weeks.
killing it.
It needs to be said.
Yeah, I
Lindsay,
agree.
You look amazing.
I agree. Wow.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate that.
Al?
See, I'm not going to say
And?
anything. You
Thanks,
look great
everybody.
too, Tori.
Thanks, everybody.
That's an interesting painting back there. Since we're not going to start the show,
No, we are going to start this show.
that was an interesting painting back there.
It's a beautiful still life.
You
All
know,
right.
I'm trying to be a little mature with my space. The producers were joking on me because, you know, in the other spaces I'm in, very colorful and bright, and this is very calm and collective and
It is.
mature.
Very museum-esque.
It is.
That's the room your aunt that comes to stay with you, that she stays in, and it's just weird and quiet, and you just hear soap operas in there, just the door shut.
Great
Okay,
opening. We're going to make the show happen now. Guess what? The UK. We're going to get all the way to Britain. The UK is now warning about allergic reactions linked to the Pfizer COVID vaccine. Now, know that this is okay. At least 2 people were treated after getting the shot yesterday. But we do want to note that those 2 people have a history of major allergic reactions.
Thanks for saying that.
It's
I'm
important.
Not even joking.
I read all about it, and they have to have like an EpiPen at all times, those 2 employees. They're both doing okay now. And speaking of the vaccine, many people are wondering, can a place of employment require you to get it?
I never even thought about that.
And can you be fired if you don't? Well, ABC's legal correspondent Dan Abrams weighed in on this earlier. Take a look.
In the vast majority of cases, you're what's called an employee at will, meaning you can be fired for any reason that's not discrimination, not based on race or gender or sexual orientation. So if they say that's a requirement of the workplace, that's going to be a requirement of the workplace.
Period. Now, there are exceptions to this, though. So listen to this. If you have a medical reason, and in certain states there can also be religious exemptions, you can get out of it using the Disabilities Act. So if you're nervous because you have a lot of allergies too, there's ways of you to be exempt from this rule. Jeff, do you think it's okay and constitutional to require you to have it at a private business?
Yes, and especially because I just interviewed Dan Abrams last week. We're best friends, so I have to take his side on this one.
Got it.
I do, Tori, and listen, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but we have to take care of the masses in this case, right? In this problem, everyone always wants a loophole because that's where we are in society right now. You're like, hey, this guy's great. What about me? I'm allergic to bananas. Well, listen, can we figure out the other 300,000 people right now, or 300 million people that are dealing with this, and we'll worry about your banana allergy later? Yes, absolutely. It's up to the employer if you want to be employed there. And like you said, it's not discrimination because if you can't, you have something you're allergic to, there are exemptions for it. It's not like, no, I don't care about your preconceived or your pre-existing idea. Or, dude, I'm all over the place. Whatever, you're out of here. It's not everything right now. We're looking for headlines, right? We're looking for why people can't. I appreciated you saying in the beginning, listen, these people who got the vaccine already had a pre-existing allergic reaction to it. But the headlines now will read, vaccine does not work,
right?
Because 2 people didn't get it. I'm so tired of these headlines, and I will stop talking now.
Well, no,
I appreciate that.
Stop talking, but Jeff and Lindsay, I want to get your opinion on this. I think what Jeff is kind of upset about in terms of, what the headline is going to say, when you live in a profit-driven motive in terms of, articles, you need to have an article that makes people click on it. It's literally, that's how you get paid now. So an article saying everything's great with the vaccine is not going to get a lot of clicks, but an article that says possible rejections, is the vaccine dangerous? What are you going to click on? And until we get profit out of healthcare and profit out of journalism and profit out of politics, we're going to have these problems.
I appreciate that. Lindsay, I want to get your take on this. Just so you guys know, if you want to be a medical worker, you are required to take an annual flu vaccine. If you want to go to Ghana, you need to take a vaccine and show proof of vaccination against yellow fever. So these are already, polio was mandatory. Lindsay, what do you think about this? A private employee saying, you get the shot or you don't come in?
It's kind of stressful because I understand why there's hesitance to get the shot right away because of how quickly this whole process was done in comparison to historically. But I do understand as somebody who travels a lot, when I went to Ethiopia, we had to go as we got our passport checked and show them that we had the yellow fever vaccine. Right. And if you didn't, you had to get it at the airport or go home. And so I think it's something that it's a legitimate conversation to think about how employers are going to handle this, as long as they're not discriminating against anybody that's going to be negatively affected and it could affect their health long long term, I think we have to abide by the rules and get the shot. And then as a consumer, you know, if you go to a restaurant and they say, hey, listen, our entire staff has been vaccinated, wouldn't you breathe a little bit deeper?
Yes.
And if you were one of those people who didn't want to step outside this entire time during quarantine, we'll finally feel comfortable in those spaces knowing that you and your grandmother can, let's say, eat dinner or go to Target without catching the vaccine from an employee.
Totally agree with you. Competitive advantage if I say my entire restaurant has had the vaccine. I completely agree with you on that. Some people disagree, right? There's always two sides. So Tia from Twitter says, no, this is unconstitutional. A lot of people feel like you're invading when you inject something, that I have a right to not do that. Tom from Twitter says, seems okay as long as the employer can be held liable for any side effects. Again, there's workarounds, so you can do it from remote, or you can find a way if you have an allergy to get out of it. Well, speaking of this,
fluoride in the water? Is that unconstitutional? I just want to hear from Tia.
Is
fluoride in our water, in our drinking water? I know we got to move
Interesting.
on.
Like seatbelts are also right. Yes. Exactly. Well, there's a new concept tied to this vaccine that I want to talk about. You guys are all writing in like crazy. It's in the works, and it's called a COVID passport. So it would show who's been immunized and who hasn't. The idea is to follow people who travel easier with fewer restrictions and attend concerts and sporting events without having to get tested. People who get the 2 required doses of the vaccine would get a card they just carry around with them, or it could be stored in a phone app. The people who don't want to get the vaccine or can't get it for health reasons could still travel and go to events, but they'd have to show proof of a negative COVID test. I'm okay with this, and I'm someone who takes personal rights really seriously. This is something that a government, their duty is to protect with what you said, a massive COVID-19 vaccine for the 70% of our population. That's their duty. So, Lindsay, do you think that a passport is crazy for Americans, or can this become normal?
I think it definitely will become normal, just because, you know, how else can you move around? There's going to be people who don't want to move around in the same kind of ways, like won't go to concerts, people who will. But if you are one of those people who want to get back to being super active, you're going to have to show that you're not going to be infecting a mass group of people at a concert or somewhere else. And I think if you have something on your phone that says I've been vaccinated, and even if you have the choice to not take that vaccination and then show that you got a COVID test recently, I think you're really going to save a lot of people from getting sick as we wait for the vaccine to kick in, because 70% of people have to take the vaccine in order for it to be effective in our country. So when we think about a lot of people opting out for random reasons, like Jeff was saying, it's going to start to cause stress on the outcomes and what's supposed to happen with the vaccine.
I agree. Yolanda just wrote in, just like your immunization records, we have these. Remember when you get the mumps you have as a kid? Your kids have them, I'm sure.
Like you guys brought up a great point about traveling. Like I've traveled so much and had to have so many shots that I didn't even know what they were. But in order to get into these countries,
it's a yes or no.
I had to get these shots. It's like, listen, it's the same. Do you want to go to a concert? You have to get this shot. You have to have this passport. If not, stop complaining. You're not allowed in. I'm so sick of hearing these voices from the few that disrupt the many. Wow, a clap from Tori. I got a shot of something crazy this morning.
Bravo.
Maybe you did.
No,
Jeff, you need to make a PSA to everybody.
I'm going to clip that for sure.
That was good.
Jeff and Tori agreed. Show over. It's been a pleasure.
Hallelujah. We got some people writing in. Deeb from Twitter says, just wait till they tell us it's mandatory to go into business and grocery stores. It might be. And Trevor says, if this is what it takes for me to finally be able to see the Broncos with a full stadium again, I'll carry a COVID passport around. Like you said, don't complain or don't go.
Right, and there's all these people who are not taking care of themselves, and I hate to be blunt, but they're overweight, they're drinking Cokes, they're smoking, they're not doing what they want because they're not taking care of their body, and they're the ones complaining. Don't tell me what to do. Well, we're not telling you what to do. And look at what's going on with yourself, right? We need to fix things, and we're trying to help you. We're not trying to take away your rights. And I'm so sick of people tiptoeing around these subjects that affect a large percent of America. But if you say something like that, look at this white privileged guy speaking with his toxic masculinity. You put labels on everything, trying to shut me up. You need to listen. You need to open your ears and start listening. I'm bringing this into 2021, so get used to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mic drop Schroeder.
Jeff's on fire.
I'm a little turned on right now.
Like 10 issues in there.
We all are. Okay, sorry. Let's talk about this because I want to get your opinion on this. Very well done, Jeff Schroeder. It's time to ask this age-old question again. Are aliens real? Well, a former Israeli space official says yes, and he has proof. He's claiming, get this, there is a, quote, galactic federation running an underground Mars base with the U.S. in a secret pact. He went on to say that the aliens will not reveal themselves until humanity can reach a point when they fully understand
Can you stop
space
reading?
and spaceships. I have to keep going. This former space official I don't know what that means, also claims that President Trump knows about the alien existence and was asked not to say anything to avoid mass hysteria. Albert Jackson, you have the floor.
I just don't, here's what I don't like, guys, is do I believe that alien life exists? I honestly do, but I don't think that, it's almost like people's vision of heaven, where it's like people are hanging out like they do on Earth, because that's all we can realize, that there's a federation and there's like different, like why would the aliens like also follow our system of hierarchies? Like I assume that if you're an alien that could fly here, you'd be like, look, I know more than you'll ever know, so here's what I need you to do. I need you to get on your knees. You're going to be my table. I'm going to sit whatever space drink this is on you. The aliens aren't going to be like, let's talk with the Americans. Like, why us?
Lindsay?
There's 216 countries. Stop it.
Do you agree? Why can't
Honestly,
they come in peace?
I don't believe this at all. And just like how you feel about whales, Tori, I hate seeing those weird big heads of aliens. It really makes me cringe. So I prefer if we don't discuss this, and I don't believe it at all. Why are you talking it again?
Everyone's on fire today. I love it. Let us know if you believe in aliens and if there's a federation. And if you're part of it, please write in. Lindsay, stick around. Coming up on DBL, TV and Broadway star Matthew Morrison is taking a starring turn in a live musical version of The Grinch. He's telling us what it took to get into character, and we're sharing the most popular Google searches of 2020.
Al Jackson?
No one asked for you. Some may surprise you. Coming up.
The last few weeks, the development of coronavirus vaccines has gotten most of the attention. But what if you've been infected with COVID-19? What are your medication options? Let's verify. What drug treatments has the FDA approved for COVID-19? Our sources for this are the FDA and drug companies Eli Lilly and Regeneron. Since the pandemic began, the FDA has approved 3 drug treatments for people infected with coronavirus. According to the FDA, in October, the government approved the antiviral drug remdesivir as a treatment. Early studies suggest it may speed up recovery time in COVID-19 patients. In November, the FDA approved 2 more treatments. Drug companies Eli Lilly and Regeneron both created antibody cocktails. According to both companies, these treatments are to be used in mild or moderate cases of COVID-19 to prevent the virus from becoming severe. A spokesperson for the FDA says all of these treatments are still being studied for effectiveness in already hospitalized patients. Do you have something you'd like verified? Email us at verify@WUSA9.com.
Welcome back to DBL. So the pandemic has spent a lot of us are spending a lot of times on our phones, right? And computers. Stop it, Al. He just went, good job, Tori.
You got a case of Jeff's over there.
And now Google is breaking down how we all tried to make sense of 2020. So some of the most Googled questions this year were, why is the NBA postponed? And why is the toilet paper sold out?
These are like questions to Santa.
I know. Other popular searches included drive-in movie theaters near me, how to cut men's hair at home, and how to make hand sanitizer. As for Twitter, one of the most retweeted tweets of 2020 was, congratulations to the astronauts who left Earth. Good choice.
That's funny.
And do you remember this one, simply titled, Titled Quarantine Day 6, it's a sock puppet eating cars through a window.
I wish that wasn't funny, but
It's so good. And guess what? It was retweeted 850,000 times.
Sound makes it work even better.
What does the sound
He's
say?
like, oh, and he makes noise.
We're 7 years old. All right, Macaulay Culkin's tweet that made us all feel old again got more than 3 million likes. He turned 40. That's crazy. Ooh. And one of the most retweeted and liked posts that was that shocking announcement that actor Chadwick Boseman had passed away after a 4-year battle with colon cancer. That sums it up a lot for me. I also think Kobe was a huge Google because people were like, is this real?
I would think that would be the thing.
A huge one, right?
Is this real?
Because it was so unbelievable. Lindsay, what do you think sums up 2020 for you in a Google search? Is there anything that you felt strongly that you think sums up your 2020?
Well, on a non-serious note, I wish I would have searched how to cut men's hair at home because I really jacked up the back of Colin's head at home when I was trying to cut his hair. So I wish that I would have looked that one up like everybody else who was smarter than I was.
My friend's cutting my friend's cutting her husband's hair, and everyone's like, "Word, do you get clippers? Do you get scissors?" That's like a kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I taught myself how to cut my son's hair because I was like, he doesn't have to go to school and be ridiculed, and my girl cuts my hair, so. Yeah, it's.
Do you get how do you get? Is your hair just growing?
Well, I had it short before the pandemic, so I grew it out. Like I didn't cut my hair for like 4 months during the pandemic. Finally, barbershops or whatever opened up, you know, and I could go get my hair cut. But now I keep it long, so I don't have to go as often.
I kind of like it. Not gonna lie. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I dig it.
Lindsay?
I was thinking about shaving it off.
No, man, you got a beautiful coif of hair.
You got a coif.
I just got an ill face from a girl's wearing socks with high heels.
Low blow, Jeff.
Out.
Low blow. She almost made like a throw-up face. When
I just think you have a good coif. Coming up on DBL, Matthew Morrison is bringing The Grinch to life and a new musical airing tonight. So how will he make the iconic character his own? Find out next.
Christmas Eve, the whole Christmas season. I hate all the who's, don't ask me the reason. It could be the hearts are so full of mirth. It could be the problem goes back to my birth. Maybe peace.
Welcome back to DBL. That was a sneak peek of tonight's premiere of Dr. Seuss' The Grinch musical on NBC. Earlier, I talked with the star, Matthew Morrison, to see how he brought the character to life. Check it out. Matthew Morrison joins us live. First of all, Matthew, welcome to DBL.
Who's hanging a miserable mistletoe wreath?
A lot of people have played the Grinch, just like a lot of people have played Batman, and everybody's going to have their favorite Batman. How are you going to make this Grinch a lot of people's favorite Grinch? What are you going to bring to this Grinch that no one has before?
Well, I hope it's people's least favorite Grinch.
That's a good point.
Then I will have done my job right. Well, first of all, this is a